And we're back to the Real AF TV podcast, show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. You are in the random take about football. If you are getting this on Friday, then that's cool. That's cool. Did you come here just for this part? If you did, we are mostly a fishing podcast. Go and check out the other half on the YouTube channel.
But we
And
ain't
if you
no
want to hear the whole
football
thing in
slouches
one,
either.
and what?
But we ain't no football slouches either. Don't be like running away now because you said
That's
I'm
right.
just-
That's right. That's right. I did not mean to make it sound like that. You're very, very true. Very true. So I admittedly though am not that great of a football person. Like I'm more of the geeky person. If this is your first time here, I'm just more of a geeky person doing the sports stuff so much. Not that Tim Slouch. Look at his fucking shirt. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, come on.
TMNT with the worst graphic of all time. Look at how off center that is.
And
Drives
maybe a
me
little
nuts.
crooked too, but it's a fucking sweet graphic. So you gotta.
It is a
let it
very
happen.
nice. I like this shirt, but it is a dumb graphic placement, and also Josh knows about Tecmo.
Yeah, that's damn right I do. And that's actually another topic that I had written down because Madden just came out. That was a different topic.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're going to talk about that one time. We're just going to have some fun here as the football season goes on. We're going to talk about that. There's a little teaser for you. Subscribe and all that shit and come back and see us. Okay, I'm going to do this in real time. I'm sending Tim a photo that has sparked this topic for me. I don't know. I kept it broad because I don't know where this conversation is going to go. But I saw this photo and I snapped it.
Okay.
And I said, okay, so this is going to be a topic because I have no fucking clue what's going on here. I was at a bowling alley while Tim looks at the photo on his phone. I'm going to explain I'm going to kind of set it all up.
Well, I have it pulled up, but I haven't looked down yet. Am I supposed to look now?
Okay, you go ahead and you look down. You don't have to say anything, laugh or do whatever. I don't know what you're going to do. But here's the setup for this, okay? Yep. So I'm not a big football person. I fell off here definitely in the last 3 to 5 years. I haven't been doing fantasy anymore. And so it's just been harder to keep up with. I don't have the NFL network, as we can see here on NFL Sunday Ticket and DirecTV. I don't have any of that stuff. So it's harder to watch games more consistently. And I look at this poster.
Yeah.
And, I'm like a 32-ounce beer in. Yeah. And I'm coming out of the bathroom of this bowling alley. And they're basically advertising, have your fantasy draft here.
Yeah.
At our restaurant bar bowling alley. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But why is there a Super Bowl quarterback and then Dak? Is that even his name?
Yeah, Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. Thank you. Dak Shepard.
The funny thing is Dak
Shepard. My bad.
Dak Shepard's podcast is called The Armchair Quarterback.
Yep.
And these are quarterbacks.
That's very funny. That's probably why this is all mixed up in my mind. So yes, thank you. So there is someone, in my opinion, who has earned their keep, and then and then there's Prescott.
Well, as far as fantasy
what's
goes,
going on here?
Like when you're talking about fantasy football, you got to put the guys out there that are producing for fantasy football, because not everybody that makes it to the Super Bowl is that good of
and for maybe the uninitiated or just a self flex, Tim, why don't you just refresh me a little bit about your fantasy football record?
So
you got a legacy league.
Yes, Empire League, which is where if you win 2 years in a row, the whole league blows up and then you redraft.
Okay.
But it's basically a dynasty league where you keep all of your starters plus 2 bench spots. So we only draft 5 bench spots every year. Plus there's a taxi squad. We don't draft for the taxi squad, I believe.
You just kind of pick them up.
You pick them up and then you can pick up waiver wires or whatever. And then the taxi squad, there's 3, they have to be first or second year people. And you put them in that taxi squad and then you can't touch them until you want to. Like you pull them out, and once they are pulled out, they take up a bench spot, and you can never put them back in the taxi squad. So it
Oh,
basically gives you the ability to draft these rookies that you don't know if they're going to do anything.
okay.
So you can claim them as your own, but you don't actually have to like waste a bench spot on somebody who might not do anything.
Oh, okay.
But I blew up the league. I won the last 2 years in a row. So I'm the champ 2 years running, and I think it's safe to say that I know a little something about fantasy football.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Which is why I also snapped this and I was like, okay, so for sure I'm talking to the right guy because I look at this thing and I'm just like, you got your direct TV, you got your Sunday ticket. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that
And I
explains the guy who's been in the Super Bowl. And then it
right.
says start your fantasy draft and fantasy NFL and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so there's something
Yeah. So
about
and
Dak that I don't that Prescott is just I don't understand, I think.
well, he's a mobile quarterback too. And
Okay.
if you listen to a lot of you understand this reference because if you listen to a lot of the fantasy analysts, they refer to a rushing quarterback as having the Konami code because rushing quarterbacks basically like break the game because rushing yards are worth so much more than passing yards.
When it comes to fantasy leagues.
Yes,
Okay.
and
Okay.
especially there's also leagues where passing touchdowns are only worth 4 points, but rushing touchdowns are worth 6 because rushing touchdowns are for anybody.
Mm.
So a
Mhm.
passing touchdown is held in different regards. Like, so you
Sure.
can have Tom Brady throws 5 touchdowns in a game,
Right.
and he doesn't score as much as Dak Prescott, who throws 2 touchdowns, runs in another one, and
Mm.
runs for like 60 yards. Because those 60 yards,
Ah.
the 60 yards are going to be worth 6 points because every 10 yards is a point, where passing yards, every 25 yards is a point. So you throw for 100 yards, you only get 4 points. You run
Ah.
for 40 yards, that's 4 points. Yeah.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
the rushing quarterbacks can really make a big difference. So
Gotcha.
that's I think why Dak is up there because he's been, one of the higher up quarterbacks. Like and the perfect example is Matthew Stafford is who won the Super Bowl last
Super Bowl
year.
last year.
And I
Even though
don't
Mahomes is the one in the photo, I know I haven't said that yet, but I just wanted to be very clear about
right.
like I get it because on a like super high level. So we'll have to get into the Mahomes in a minute. But okay, so yeah, winner
Yeah,
of a
so
Super Bowl last year, Stafford.
yep. Yep. And Stafford won the Super Bowl and I don't think he broke the top 5.
Really?
Yeah.
He
Just
was my
because
backup back 3, 5 years ago whenever I was playing, you know?
he's good and he does throw for a lot of touchdowns and stuff, but
Mhm, mhm.
I don't think he made it that far up because of the rushing quarterbacks and
Right, right.
the upside that they have and the
Sure.
amount of touchdowns and stuff. I think there's quite a few games where he didn't throw for that many touchdowns because
Oh,
somebody rushed. Like
sure.
if you have a team that has a running back that rushes it in too a lot,
Oh,
that's not going to help you out. If you're
that your
throwing the
quarterback
ball to
doesn't
him,
help you then. That'd be you'd want the running back on that team.
yeah.
Right?
And there's some like sneaky things that are like some people don't like, but it's like it is what it is. Rules are rules. Like Patrick Mahomes when he had Tyreek Hill, there was a lot of where they had like these kind of like a jet sweep. Tyreek Hill would take off from like over in his like lineup where a receiver normally would on the outside,
Mhm,
and he'll take off running past Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes will be in like a shotgun,
mhm.
and right after the ball is snapped, he'll toss it forward like a foot as Tyreek is running past him,
No way.
and that 1 foot pass ends up taking it 60 yards to the house because Tyreek went there.
Yep.
Mahomes gets credited for a 60-yard touchdown pass, and he threw the ball a foot.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
But it was a forward pass, like,
It was
according
a
to the
forward
rules,
pass,
and
so it's like,
yeah,
rules are rules. We can't change the rules, you
right.
know?
And Mahomes is not, like, doing it for the fantasy league. Like, I mean, it's just a really good it's
Yeah.
just a good play. It's just they're a good
Right.
team to do that, and it works,
Yeah.
and it throws off the
Yeah.
defense, and
And Mahomes didn't call that play. That was Andy Reid being like,
right,
you know, Tyreek Hill or whatever.
right.
Whatever they call the play.
Yeah, right.
Cheetah. Cheetah.
Cheetah.
They call him the
Cheetah.
cheetah.
Cheetah. Cheetah
Cheetah, go
49.
cheetah. I just saw a clip the other day where there's a guy in the stand that looked exactly like Andy Reid. It was uncanny. It was crazy. He had like he knew he looked like Andy Reid, so he's playing it up. He's like chewing gum like him. He had like the Bose headset, wearing the exact same coat and everything. He's standing on the sideline, like just leaning over, just staring at everybody. And the announcers are
That's
just like,
hilarious, dude.
yeah, the announcers are just like, that's unreal. That's unreal. And I'm sure when he's walking to the stadium or whatever, everybody stops him.
Oh, I'm sure people totally
Oh,
stop him.
yo, what up, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they call him Andy. You can probably call him Coach. Oh shit, Coach. Yeah, let's win it, Coach.
Go
He
get
probably
him.
he probably gets to do a bunch of stuff he shouldn't.
Yeah, take photos of people and shit on Instagram.
Or just like skips the line. Guys, I really got to get down back onto the field. Oh, let him through. Let him through. He's got to get a hot dog. You know, Coach Reed's got to get his hot dog.
You already do that. He comes
You
up
knew he
every
gotta get
time. 3 minutes till the end of the second half. You know that.
I'm not chewing gum all day. That's gum. Or that's
It's hot dog.
I screwed that up. I'm not chewing gum. That's gum.
It's funnier that way, maybe.
Coach Reed could say some stuff like that, and the Kansas City fans would just be like, "No, he keeps you on his toes. he keeps all of us. He gets it.
He
We
just
thought he was
gets it.
gonna. We thought he was gonna say hot dog. Calls an audible. Tells us it's not gum. It's gum. Dude's a genius. I don't know why they talk like that. They're from Kansas City. This guy.
I don't know how they talk in Kansas City either.
I don't know.
Kind of East Coasty, I think.
I don't know. I think it might be almost like a little bit more southern because it's like on
I think it's
the
just a
border.
slower
It's like
version of
Kansas
our.
City and Missouri.
Yeah, I think it's just a slower version of our accent.
Oh,
So
could
that
be.
means that except for slower version, like we drag out our bag. We drag out
Oh
our,
yeah,
ham.
they got the
We don't do
O's
quick.
a little bit,
But
just
they
like
don't.
almost like a southern draw on a Minnesota accent.
Yeah, except for they don't
Everybody
drag out
get.
those vowels so long because they're already dragging
Oh
out the
yeah,
rest
because they're
of their
going slow. Yeah, it'd
conversation.
be weird.
Yeah.
You guys gotta get out the way for Coach Reed.
Oh, way.
Oh man. But yeah, no, I just also um doing a guillotine league or guillotine league as spelled guillotine. It said guillotine, and that is so I'm doing 2 fantasy leagues this year, and that guillotine league sounds like it's gonna be intense.
Why? What does that
Oh,
mean? You just cutting heads
so
off or what?
chop. You try not to get chopped, bro.
Oh shit!
So so each week there are 18 teams, so the draft was a little bit crazy. Some
No
people reached
kidding.
for some players I was not ready for, and it was like, damn, got to be on my toes next year because I didn't know. I was like, okay, I can draft this guy here because I'm kind of going off the draft, like looking at the players where they're going and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think maybe I can wait a couple rounds and I'll get him, or maybe even just next round. And
Yeah.
it's like after I make this pick, I'm like, oh, it might come back to me, and it's an 18 team league. So between the 2 picks, I got 18 picks or whatever it factors out to be.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, maybe it'll come back. Like the moment I pick the one player thinking I got a whole nother round to get to that, they're gone. I'm
What
like,
the
no,
hell?
damn, shit. I didn't see that coming. I'm like, no, that was like my plan. And
Right.
then I go to pick it. So like I I think I did okay, but I kind of screwed up that draft. Like I could have done better. But the crazy part is, so in that league, you are not really you're not drafting to win per se. You are drafting
Okay.
to not lose because each week
Oh,
the lowest
that's
scoring
an interesting
team
way to put it.
gets chopped. They are done. Week
Oh, because
1,
there's
somebody's season will be over.
wow.
One of the teams is done.
It's
So,
crazy, like a cooking
and
competition, like a
yeah,
reality TV show
here
type
here's
shit,
where
dude.
here's where it really gets fun though. Everybody has a fab budget, which is like future. I can't remember what fab stands for. It's like a player acquisition budget. I don't know what F stands for.
Oh, okay.
Fantasy acquisition budget. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyways, you have a bunch of money that is fictional to bid on the players to try to get them. That person's team that got chopped,
Mhm.
all their players hit the waiver wire.
Oh, shit.
So everybody gets to bid on these, and then it becomes a game of strategy. Like, do I
Sure.
try to spend a bunch of money to get a couple of good guys right now?
Right.
Or do I think I can let all those guys pass me by
Right.
and keep not being the lowest score until later on in the season? Have all
And
my
then stack it
fab
up.
money, and when they get chopped, because that same
I'll
person's
pay
team,
everybody then, right? But
yeah. But the other thing is, like, say Dalvin Cook is on the team that gets chopped week 1.
okay.
Somebody else pays $500 of their fab to get him.
Mhm.
5 weeks down the road, that team gets the lowest score
Yep.
somehow,
Yep.
and their Dalvin Cook is back again
Right.
available.
Right.
Do I try to get him right away? I don't know.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it's a crazy
Yeah.
game of strategy. I've never
Okay.
played in one of these leagues, but I'm super excited because each week is like, when you get into the playoffs in a normal fantasy league,
Yeah.
it's like shit,
Yeah.
win or I'm out.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
now every single week is like that in a guillotine league. You're like, I can't be the lowest scorer. I'm done.
Right.
So yeah,
That shit's crazy, dude. You
yeah.
better hit me up this season. Like just when we're getting ready to record, right? Like the week before or the few days before we're getting ready to record and we're kind of doing our quick back and forth, like, hey, this time, this whatever. Just hit me up and be like, all right, it's time for fantasy update.
Oh yeah, for
Because that
sure.
shit sounds so cool. And it sounds, I mean, unless you get cut week 1, that would suck shit.
Yeah.
But
I'm hoping not, but there's always a possibility
well,
because
that's the crazy thing about it, right?
you just never know. Like the players I have some decent players, but it's like for whatever reason, if they just don't put up a lot of stats that week, their
Right.
team could still win. And they
Right.
just didn't have a stellar week. It's, like a
Right.
defensive battle. Like nobody could get anything going.
Yep.
And you just happen to have that bad luck week where you're just like, none of my players, like I had no touchdowns this week. I've
Yeah.
had that before,
Yep.
where like my whole team does well, but for some reason, nobody scores any touchdowns. They're just getting catches and yards, and that's all because somebody else scores the touchdown. And just by
Right.
some dumb luck, I have all the players that didn't score any touchdowns. And you're just like,
Yeah,
shit.
you could be fucked. But it
Yeah.
sounds like if you make it, if you text me later and you just like send me these hey, fantasy update. It's like, okay, cool. If you make it a few weeks, they're gonna be stories. This guy went for 500. This guy went for 200. I can't believe,
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's gonna be like there will be a lot to talk about in that, and it'll be fun to listen to because that's like, oh shit, I've never heard of such a
Yeah.
thing before.
Yeah, me
I've never heard
either.
of this guillotine league or whatever. The
Yeah, and
playing not to win, but to not to lose.
right. And the whole thing was like try to get consistency and stuff too, like when you're
Sure,
going
of course.
and there was different weird draft strategy, like avoid bye weeks, like early bye weeks. Because
Oh,
basically they're just like,
shit.
in a normal league where if you have a bye week, you're like, whatever, I lose that week. But in the guillotine league, you don't lose. You can't lose. You can't be last place. So
Right, right, right.
try to do that.
Oh, shit, dude.
And
That's
I
funny.
unintentionally ended up drafting a team that, by those regards, is pretty darn good. I think
Oh,
my
okay.
my
Like your buys come later in the year?
My bye weeks are like earliest is week 10, I think.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But I'm not going to make it to week 10 with the team I have. I'm definitely going to have to be able to pick up some different players. I got some rookies and stuff, which is something that they said not. But because these other people like stretched and grabbed some of these players early, I was just like, damn it, I didn't see that coming. Like, I don't know who any of these people are either. You know, like
Oh.
I was in,
Wait, you mean like the
I shouldn't
opponents?
say,
Your opponents?
yeah, I shouldn't say I don't know who any of these people are. I was in my league and just randomly threw out there, I was like, I'm interested in joining another league if anybody else has any spots. Like I was just like, I'm open for it if
Oh, okay.
anybody's looking to fill a spot. And then they were just like, are you interested in a high stakes guillotine league? And I was like, not really. Like guillotine league sounds fun. Not interested in high stakes.
Right.
And then one of the other guys was like, well, it's 18 teams. We draft 2 teams. Why don't we split it? You can have one team, I'll have the other team. So
Okay.
we're not buying in 2 teams. And it's like, oh, I can do that. I'm not buying 2 teams
Right.
because that's just not in the budget. I'm not
Yeah,
trying.
I was gonna say, when as soon as you said high stakes, I was like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, right.
Like,
But
people
because
don't
we're
fuck around when it comes to
no,
fantasy, like,
no.
they really play like, I only played ever in a I can't even remember if we played for fun or if, like, the company because it was a lot of people from work, it was like, did the company sponsor it? And they just put up, like, a small, you know, a smaller amount in,
Yeah.
like, gift cards and stuff like that. I can't remember anymore because 'cause it's been so long, but the point is that, like, in those leagues, there in that league that I was in when I was just doing it just to fill a spot essentially, and I ended up doing well, that there was nobody it's because I know how to play games,
Right.
that there was nobody doing what I was doing, basically. There were maybe 1 or 2 other people, and there's 10 of us in the room. Everybody
Yeah.
else was doing this one and just going like, "Okay, this is good," and they wanna win, trust me, they wanna win. They're not playing around
Yeah.
because they're hungry winner type people, that's why they're doing it, but then they
Sure.
were all like, "Oh, in my next league, I gotta go and do this," and they're talking about dropping hundreds of dollars on
Yeah.
this next league, and I'm like, "Oh, shit." So a high stakes one, we're talking some money.
Yeah. This one is 18 teams and each team is 150 and most of these people are doing 2 teams a person.
Holy
So they're
shit.
talking 3 bills a person.
Just
And
gambling 3 bills.
yeah. But the payout, I
The
mean, first
payout's fucking
place if you
sweet.
make it to the end is 1550 for first place.
Right.
You double your money getting third. And then I can't remember what fourth is. You double your money getting third place or not fourth. Double your money getting third place.
Yep.
And it's like $700 for like second and then first is like 1550.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
I know. It's like
Wow.
first place gets me another depth finder. Something is definitely going
2
towards
Depth
something
Finders
efficient.
next year, baby.
2. Talk about getting that forward facing
Trying to get me some
sonar.
spot lock in this bitch.
Yeah. That's not even that's we're I don't know. I'm about not quite halfway there. I win this high stakes league and it would get me not quite
It would
halfway
give me
there.
not quite halfway to spot lock. All right.
And not that's to say not spotlight by itself because I don't have any of it. So we're talking we'd have to get the unit with the
Right.
sonar. And
Right.
if you bought that in a bundle, you're talking like almost $3,000 to over $3,000, depending on the size of the graph you get, and then to add the spot lock on there.
Oh, because of the screens and stuff, right? And all that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, because you can get, I think you can get the mega or as far as I just know about the hummingbird prices. You can get the hummingbird forward facing, starting at like $1,000 with just the graph. Not talking about, that's where it starts at. And that's with the 7-inch unit. And they go up to 15, I believe.
That's what I think you said in a couple episodes ago. Anyways, we're getting on.
We're getting back
on to fishing. Now. If you don't know what the hell we're talking about, go over to episode 50. We did 2 hours of iCast coverage. You're going to catch somewhere in there. You're going to catch the spot lock thing that we're talking about.
Yep.
Tim's just getting into specifics and money. And you know what? One day on the Real AF TV podcast, that's right. Real like fish and real. We will get into it. Jeez. What do we? Oh yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. Here we go. Okay. This offer is not valid in states outside of the United States. No, I'm just kidding.
Just a big old.
Just totally fucking with everybody.
Have some sort of a promo. Oh, nice.
I'm just kidding, man. You know how this thing works, everybody. You've been on podcasts long enough. You've been on YouTube long enough. I'm sure.
That's right.
You hear it all the time, but the truth behind it is this is how we get noticed, is by you following, subscribing, commenting, and all of that stuff, whether it be over on Spotify or iTunes or Amazon Music, or especially the YouTube channel where we do have fishing videos. If you so happen to just find us on podcast feeds, we are working on more feeds and other things, but me and Tim have to talk about that offline, as we work out the details and when to launch and all that fun stuff. But I say that only to say, if you stuck through the whole podcast and you caught the Patreon, then you know we are making progress. We are doing things. We are making forward movement with Real AF TV, especially in the video department, where we have already started talking about some things offline here before we started this very podcast. That is the best way to support us. But freebies, like, subscribe, ding the bell. Am I right, Tim?
Bingo. That's free. Like my man Ryan Sickler says, it means nothing to you guys and it means everything to us. So please help us out and do all that good stuff. Also, if anybody was watching and saw my face get a little bit weird, I know I was just kind of jamming out to no music for a while there, but my face got weird because I don't know if it was an internet connection or what, but for a second there, you got synthesized like crazy. You were just like it was just like, you know, I was like, what the fuck was that?
You were like, fuck yeah, dude.
That was dope. I'm just jamming to nothing. And then all of a sudden it's like the computer sees it and he's like, we got no music. What should we do? I don't know. Synthesize Josh's voice for him. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Computer's joining the party.
Hell yeah, dude. That is awesome. All right.
Also,
well, what?
I was just gonna say, since we were talking about footballs, or football, not footballs, but footballs are also fishes. Big smallmouth,
big old smallmouth,
are called footballs because they're big and they're brown and they're shaped like a football. So go play some football, go play some fantasy football, go catch a football,
catch a football
in the lake, catch a football in the yard, football.